Hello everyone, it's Ian Robb, and I'm just going to go over my list I played for Toronto, where I went 10-3-1 and got 40th place. So, going to the event, I felt very good about Carter Jellison, as I have been for the past few months. The deck is just quite powerful, as turn 1 item lock is very effective against things like Oldango, Charizard, Dragapult, the Mirror. Just all these decks just don't function all that well under turn 1 item lock, so I was pretty happy with this deck choice for the event due to that. And overall, the list I played, I felt very happy with. The Watchtower was excellent in the games where it mattered. It was quite good against the one Charizard player I did face, where I was able to play Team Rocket's Watchtower turn 1. He was unable to use Fan Rotom and lost the game on the spot due to not having a stadium in hand, and it randomly came up against things like Dragapult and various other decks that have colorless Pokemon in them. So overall, it's a very good card to play over Mystery Garden from my perspective in the games that I played. The 2 copies of Bravery Charm, so I know those also quite good. You have to play 2 tools in this deck, and there's not a single game where Devo would have been good for me. So I'm very happy that I decided to play 2 copies of Bravery Charm instead of something like 1 Bravery Charm, 1 Technical Machine Devolution. I do think a copy of Technical Machine Evolution could maybe been better than one of these Bravery Charms, but I don't think the card is very easy to find, so that's why I rather play 2 copies of Bravery Charm. So the other interesting choice I had was 3 Ralts over the 3rd Nest Ball, which, again, the winning list did play 3 Nest Ball, 2 Ralts, but I really disagree with that. The reason for that is I've been finding that in this format, you need to bench 2 Ralts down against decks like Goldango so that you do not get one knocked out by a Solrock and you're stuck with a very weak board. So that's why, in my opinion, it is very important to play 3 currently before the next set comes out. And overall, everything felt very good, and I cannot really think of any changes I would like to make going forward outside of maybe cutting Mega Diancie for either a Nerve supporter or a different consistency card, because that was the way I lost all my games, was just due to not really being able to do what I needed to set up and win. So yeah, that was my one complaint, where all my wins were very close games for the most part. I felt this deck was a little bit weaker. Like, I had pretty bad draws overall. Some matches I got incredibly lucky and had very easy wins, but overall I think my draws were quite weak. So I had to fight for a lot of my wins, and I got a little lucky with some things going my way at certain points. But I think that a lot of my wins really just kind of reflected how this deck is very strong and can win from really any point. And my losses were to first Don Charizard, where games 1 and 3 I did not draw a supporter and I lost the game. And then I lost to Dragapult Dusknoir, which in my opinion is not a great matchup. This deck just isn't built to handle Lock and get out Gardevoir EX, so I just had a rough time in game 1, and then game 2 I didn't draw a supporter, so I lost. And then my third loss was to a straight Gardevoir EX deck with the Luxurious Cape, where game 2 I just didn't really get set up until too late in the game, and I made a small mistake where I forgot how much damage was on Screamtail. I miscalculated. I don't think I was winning anyway, so nothing really mattered. In game 3 I made a decision where I thought that I had to attach a Psychic to Monkey to be safe and make sure I could attack, and because I didn't expect to get Hurricane Gardevoir off Iono, and then I did, and I needed one more extra Dark to win the game a few turns later. So yeah, that was like the one thing I think that I could really done differently. In my tie was against Enzoric, which is just a very close matchup overall. I would say it's slightly favored with Mega Diancie in your deck, but it is not something that is just very free. There's a lot of ways for them to play the matchup well. My opponent played quite well, so I can't say that there's really much to discuss there. But yeah, so what else there really with this deck going forward? So in my opinion, as we saw, the deck won the event. It's still the best deck going to at least Merida this upcoming weekend, but after that I'm a little bit concerned with the new Sending, I believe it's called Sending Hero set, which will have Ends Zekrom in it. Every time I call it Ends Reshiram, even though there's already Ends Reshiram, so trying to make sure I say Ends Zekrom going forward. But I think that deck's going to be very powerful, as the deck needed a way to just be able to hit 280 consistently going forward. So I think that's going to be a great choice going into this upcoming EUIC format. So that's something to definitely be looking out for. For this deck, I think that there's just really, again, like I said before, it's the best deck. And if you're looking for something to pick up for Merida this upcoming weekend, I would highly recommend playing Gardevoir. And I think this list is still the best way to go, as it really has everything you need to be able to at least play against every deck and have a fighting chance. I think the worst card in the deck is definitely Jellicent EX. I feel it's a necessary evil, as if you're playing Latias EX in your deck, you just need a way to be able to evolve your Filish and then just retreat off the energy. And also sometimes it can be good against our version of Gardevoir, but I don't think the card actually is all that great. It's only okay due to how Gardevoir EX trades favorably with damage into it, and also how Monkey Dory's Mind Bend can create a lot of problems for you. So it's just overall kind of like a weak attacker. So I think the card's a little bit overrated as a mirror tech. So that's my opinion on that. Everything else, though, I think that going forward in this format, we'll just see the same things as we saw this past weekend going into Merida. So I feel that's something that you want to keep in mind, is just looking at all the results where things like Dragapult did very well overall, just due to how a lot of decks are disrespecting it, and Charizard finally gained popularity. So just was a very good time to play Dragapult. And actually, I think in my opinion, if Goldango is not going to be a 20% deck again, Dragapult is just the best deck in format, because Dragapult does well into this version of Gardevoir, and it also does very well into Charizard, where it's basically just a win if you face a Charizard player most of the time. So I really like Dragapult right now, but outside of Dragapult, I think that Gardevoir is just the other best deck. So yeah, that's my opinion for Merida. For, again, UIC, like I said, the thing this deck's going to be quite strong. We're just going to have to figure out the deck list going forward. So I will not be at Merida's upcoming weekend. I will be preparing for Pro Tour Lorwyn Eclipse, and I will be still posting videos next week, but I will not be at the regional this weekend. So I will be posting later this week some gameplay of this deck so you guys can learn how to approach playing it. And I will be also updating my class with a little bit more of explanation of everything. At least that's my plan. If not, I'll let you guys know. And I plan on creating a Donzard Masterclass, as I feel that deck is incredibly strong, and that was my second choice for this event, as I think that deck is excellent and it's severely underrated due to how consistent it is, where all you need is a Fanrobe and a Charmander and you're basically fully set up. So I think the deck is still an incredible deck going forward, and even though it's not in my top 2 decks, I think it's definitely number 3 for Merida. So I think it's still a very, very, very strong choice, and I think there's some innovations to the deck list that can make the deck a lot more consistent going forward. If there is any kind of content you guys would like to see me do that I'm currently not doing, I would be open to a lot of different things, as I'm trying to expand my YouTube and also my Medify page to do new stuff. I plan on doing streaming very soon, as I've discussed before. I just have some stuff I had to figure out to prepare for that, but yeah, that's overall everything I have for updates. I will still, again, like I said, post next week. I haven't decided yet what decks I'll be discussing. I think my plan is either just do a tournament recap for Merida / excuse me, I forget the tournament in Europe this weekend, its name, or I will just have a pre-recorded video this week of a deck. I was thinking doing Donzard again, because I really think that deck is super powerful and underrated. I'll either do that or Dragapult, as again, as I said, I think Dragapult's a very strong deck, and also, in my opinion, it's very fun to play, as while the gameplay can be sometimes a little more simple, because you have very much straightforward game plans where you're supposed to do a certain thing against every deck, you still have a lot of fun, which is how many cards you get to draw with Pheasantipity plus Lilies every turn. And even if Badoo is not a fun card to face, it is very, very, very fun, in my opinion, to use. So, again, thank you for watching this video. If you guys want to check out any more of my content, I have a lot more videos over here on YouTube. You can check my Medify page if you want to book coaching. Check out how to more deep dives in decks, things like how to play Gardevoir, Mari's Grimmsnarl are currently EV Box are the 3 that I have up. And if you want to see any of my other posts, check me out on X, which I have in the link in the comments. But yeah, I hope that you guys will continue to watch my videos, and hopefully when I make more update in 2 weeks after pre-record content next week, I'll have a video about winning the Magic Gathering Pro Tour for Lorwyn Eclipse, as I currently think that the standard format is quite interesting. I think I feel very good about my chances. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Until next time, Ian out. Peace.